Good morning, and welcome to the Abundance of News. I'm your host, Amy. Today we have a special segment to talk about with you. A new book called The Abundance of Catherines by John Green. John Green is famous for his books because most of them have won awards. And some of you might be familiar with his well-known books such as Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, and Looking for Alaska. We have heard good views on this book, so we're excited to see what happens. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Are you struggling in math? Are you not understanding the equation your teacher is giving you? There's this new math textbook that breaks down every equation that you could ever imagine. Can't solve 1 plus 500? Just open the book to page 500 and it shows you how to solve the math equation and gives you the answer. If you would like to purchase one of these textbooks, just call 1-800-MATH. Just got an itch.
Welcome back. I'm Jocelyn, owner and operator of Abundance of News. Have you ever had your heart broken, felt as if you needed one person in your life to keep you happy? If so, you would relate to Colin Singleton, the main character in the book Abundance of Catherines. Unfortunately, when it comes to relationships, Colin type is a girl named Catherine. When it comes to girls named Catherine, Colin seems to always get dumped. When it came to the 19th time being dumped by a girl named Catherine, Colin was heartbroken and knew something needed to change. Hazian, Colin's best friend, knew he needed that, and a road trip miles and miles away from home filled with adventure and mystery would help. The main point of the road trip was for Colin to understand what kind of person he was without Catherine in his life. But before we see what happens next, I'm going to interview Colin to see how he's doing with this breakup.
Colin, how do you feel about what happened with Catherine?
This is the 19th time that this has happened to me. I just don't know what to do.
Well, thank you, Colin, for letting us interview, and welcome back. Returning to the book An Abundance of Catherines. This novel is by an award-winning author, John Green. In this novel, Colin Singleton is a prodigy and genius who just graduated high school. Colin was dumped by his 19th girlfriend in a row, and all of his girlfriends had the name Catherine, all spelled the same way. Colin would lambaste himself every time Catherine would break up with him. After Catherine, the 19th, dumped Colin, Colin's best friend Hazian wanted Colin to resilience after his breakup, and not to be as sad as the last ones. Hazian comes to Colin's room, alert him that he needs to take a road trip to clear his mind and have an adventure. Once the boys made an acquiescence with their parents to let them go on the road trip for the summer, they hit the road in Colin's car. While Colin and Hazian are on the highway, Colin sees an exit, which brags that it has the grave of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, which is the body responsible for World War I. Colin and Hazian take the exit and find themselves in Gunshot, Tennessee. The tour of the grave is behind a convenience store where they met Lindsay's mother, Holly. Holly's family owns a factory in the town that has been running since the early 20th century. When Holly meets Colin and Hazian, she invites them to her house for the dinner. While having dinner, Holly offers the boys a summer job to gather stories from the factory workers and townspeople. She also offers them a room and a board at her home. As the boys meet the factory workers and townspeople, they learn what a special town Gunshot really is. Even though it's completely different from Chicago, where the boys live, while they're working their summer job, Colin continues to work on the theorem. Hazian continues to work on his people skills, which eventually lands him one of the prettiest girls in town, Katrina. Even though Lindsay is dating one of the most popular boys in town, the former high school quarterback, who is also Colin Singleton and Lindsay grow closer as the summer continues. Lindsay even helps Colin figure out what his theorem may work if he includes more variables and equations. In the end, Colin and Hazian and Lindsay all learn about coming of age. They learn about what the future holds for each of them, about the importance of friendship and how friendship often turns into romantic relationships. If you're interested in romantic mystery books, you should definitely look into some of more John Green's books. Thank you for listening and have a great day.